Is it too much to ask for? Yeah. Can I put my lips on your skin, babe? Ask for. Yeah.
Okay, perfect.
Cool.
So guys, welcome back to the channel. I am sat with Mona Patel. Is that
that's
Mona
right.
Patel. So do you want to introduce yourself?
Sure. I'm the CEO of Motivate Design. It's a user experience research and design agency here in New York City.
Do you want to tell them some of your clientele?
Sure. We get to work with some pretty awesome brands. I have to say I feel very fortunate. So Nike and Facebook, a bunch of banks like First Republic Bank, a bunch of pharmaceutical companies like Pfizer and Otsuka, some cool brands like Refinery 29 or Tumblr, like Jet. It's a really fun group.
She loves her job, basically.
I do.
So anyways, Motivate Design is why we're here.
Yeah.
So I'm here doing a 2-day training for Mona.
An amazing training. He's awesome.
Thank you. For Mona and the rest of our team. So yeah, we're doing a 2-day training, and I think a little while back, like 3-4 months ago, I sat down with the owner of AJ Smart, Jonathan Courtney.
Hi, Jonathan.
And I'm like, yo, dude, like, can we shoot a video on what what you're looking for when you're signing agencies to do work for your company, when you're signing contractors, copywriters, email marketers, or designers, whatever it may be. Because obviously my main thing is I teach people how to start a digital marketing agency. So I thought, how awesome would it be to sit with one of my own clients and just kind of discuss things you can do in either your sales approach, your pitch,
for sure.
whatever it may be, to actually kind of help you land higher ticket clients and clients like this, basically. So yeah, okay.
Where do you want to start? Tell me.
Okay. So what are because basically Mona's like one of the most straight to the point people you'll ever meet. She's kind of like me.
We've had a fun 2 days.
Yeah, she's very, very blunt. So what are like some, because I remember hearing in one of the podcasts, like you've had people come to you like asking for jobs or agencies and stuff like that. Like what are some things what's an approach that someone would take when they come to you that you're just immediately like, no?
When they think they know what my problem is. I mean, I think that's a thing, and maybe it's just me, but one big trigger that I have is disrespect. And disrespect shows up in a variety of ways. It shows up in not doing homework on this company, not doing homework on me, having a lot of assumptions about what I need or how I need it, versus listening. Versus coming in saying, Mona, I've listened to a couple podcasts, I looked at your website, I think I know where I'd be a great fit, but I would love to learn from you. What are your pain points when it comes to digital marketing? What are the things that you wish like you could just wake up and someone would solve for you? Start there. The ones that come in and are like, I know where all the mistakes are. I just had one the other day. It's like, I looked at your website and I found 14 things wrong with it. I'm like, okay, I know. But like, how is that helpful to me? I don't want to work with somebody with that kind of attitude. I want to work with somebody who's like, I'm here to help you. I'm here to be your partner and take a whole lot of work off of your plate so that you can be more successful. And that's what I'm looking for. It's like your words, your sentiment, your attitude has to be like, I'm here to help you. Because this is what I do. Like how I have those clients is I say, I'm here to help you. What do you need? What's your budget? Whatever their budget is, we work with that. Do I need to come on site, off site? Like what is it that you need me to do to make you successful? People love that. But all too often we'll get people who just think they know, or they have this like package offering. They're like this, or this. And I don't resonate very well with that.
So that's something that like I'm a big advocate against. Well, first of all, I've had it with, for example, customers of mine of my program. They'll ask in the live Q&A calls that we do. They're like, I remember one specifically. The guy was like, "Hey, how do I make my meetings quicker?"
Yeah.
Or like, how do I make my meetings quicker? Or how do I like make my meetings more efficient? And I'm like, dude, that is the opposite of what you want to do.
Awful question.
I told him, I'm like, look, people commit. There's two forms of commitment you can get. You can either get a monetary commitment, which is a sale, or which is something that most people glaze over, is a time commitment. Now, for someone like you, and that's why I like if a client wants to spew out all of their issues and all of their problems to me for an hour, and I literally don't say a word for an hour, I'm like, I'm getting closer and closer to the sale. Because I can tell you something, someone like Mona or another business owner, for example, someone like me, like
that's how you know.
Our time, like like people say like, oh, my time's worth more than money, but like actually it's worth more than money to us, right? So if you're sitting with a business owner and you're trying to like speed up the sales process and say like look, there's a like a flow, and there is a you know, a sort of process you have to go through to get to the sale or the close or get them to become a client of yours. But that said, if you're trying to like speed it up and go through like every single point, you're actually doing yourself a disservice. Because the more time someone spends with you, the more likely that they're going to become a client.
I think for sure. I think the other thing, it's money and time, and my time like to be would be resonance, value resonance, right? So I may not have the money to hire you right now. You may not be in my budget right now. Like for example, we're talking videographers earlier today, right?
Yeah.
There's this guy I really like. He's over budget for what we decided we needed.
Yeah.
The time that he spent with me and the time that he spent explaining to me, he got my project, he understood it, he had his own perspective on it. I will always remember him. And if I have a bigger budget, if I have another need, if I have a referral that I need to make, he's gonna get that.
Yeah.
And he didn't try to rush me. He didn't try to like sell me on anything. He's like, this is what I do. This is my rate. The rate didn't work out for us. Yeah. That's okay.
It wasn't a match at the time.
Will help him at some point. And this is what I've learned in business for the last like 9.5 years now. There's business karma. You know, you help somebody and you're so surprised, but like it could be 5 years, it could be 5 days. That person helps you back.
Yeah. Even you just. It's so weird. Literally right before shooting this, I got a really big referral, and I was just like, and this was like an old like business associate of mine, like a deal that didn't work out, and this was like from like a year and a half ago, and really like I'm like, they thought of me. You like you don't realize the karma there.
You know, one of the people who leads up Insider Insight, she's a strategist. She teaches at Parsons. One of our employees introduced me to her, and it was about a year and a half ago, maybe 2 years ago, and we didn't have the role for her, and we didn't have the ability to pay a rate for someone who's a strategist. We had like really basic work that we were doing, and she was kind of too smart for the work that we were doing. She leads up Insider Insight now. I called her the second we came up with this idea, and I'm like, I know who is going to be perfect. So you really don't know, and that's the thing. It's like if you're in this business and you're just focusing on time and money for you, you're not going to make it. I'm sorry. Like maybe you will, like as an edge case, but if you're here to say like what I do is valuable, so I got to find the clients who see that value, and I'm going to spend the time and effort to really do some stellar work. Like there's no shortage of work. There really is no shortage of work. I've been around. He knows. Like I don't even have a sales process. Like he, you know, now I do. But like you know, prior to 48 hours ago, no, not really. It's like just we did great work, and everything was referral and word of mouth. Every single thing from growing this agency to almost 50 people was just word of mouth referral. Great job.
Yeah.
That's it.
So another thing you mentioned there was packages.
Yeah.
So that's another thing that like really kills me is like I always tell people like don't do packages.
Yes.
Don't do packages, and also your pricing should be different per client. Like.
Yeah.
So I don't know if that would
client
work.
Client type or client.
Client type.
Yeah, I agree.
Client type. I don't know if that will work for your industry, but at least in my space, I know how much it's worth, and I also know how much work that goes in. So depending on that, I'll charge a different price. And also, it's like if you go to a doctor, right? If you go to a doctor and they're just like, take this medicine, and you're like, I haven't told you what my issue is yet.
Right.
And they're like, yeah, you just be like, this person's just out to like
scam me
or like misinform me, or just like take my money and they just don't. Or if you go to like a pharmacy or something, they're just like, take this medicine, you're like, I haven't told you what's wrong. They just want your money. You
know, there's like I'm realizing something as you speak, that there's a desperation in doing that. And that's I think what we pick up on. You're like, man, you know, like you're not listening, you're not paying attention, you're trying to get out of here early. There's a desperation that you pick up on when you're trying to hire, and you don't want to show signs of that. You want to show strength, confidence, that that you feel really good about the package that you have. But of course you're flexible if they need them to be flexible. If you need to be flexible, or you can just walk away and say, I'm sorry, this isn't for me right now. But in the future, we can work together.
Yeah, and there's also just a client. I got an email like 2-3 hours ago that I confer like a client confirmation, and they're $7,800 a month.
Yeah.
They tried to push back. They're like, hey, can we go to 5,000? Or no, they were like, hey, can we go to 5,000? Yeah, 5,000. I'm like, no. And then they're like, hey, can we go to 6,500 plus this? They want to give me shares of their company. I'll tell you off camera who it is. And I'm like, no. And then they're like, oh, okay, awesome. Yeah, we'll do 7,800. And it's just like, there's also like a lot of strength that comes with that, like kind of knowing your price, being able to walk away when need be. And also that strength only comes from when you know that is the like it's really easy to walk away when you know that's what they need.
Yeah,
like,
I agree. That's so good.
If they may not see it at the time, but they'll come to see it.
Yeah.
For example, Jonathan, right? Jonathan from AJ Smart, and you guys actually know him because I got him on camera. Like from the moment that he saw my ad, because he actually came through a funnel, from the moment that he saw my ad to the point that he became a customer or a client of mine was 6 months. he didn't know that he needed it at that time, but he
Yeah.
knew 6 months later. And if you can like be solid in your offering and
you have to give people time to come to you, right? It's like dating. Like
Yeah.
you have to give people time to like come to you. You don't just go strong with like, let's get married the second
Uh-huh.
that you meet somebody. You give them like even Jonathan. So Jonathan introduced us. It was I think at the end of the summer. It took me 2 months.
yeah, this
You know, it's shorter because I have his recommendation, but I still have to vet, talk to you, get Peter to talk to you. You know, there's all these things that have to happen as a part of the dating process. And so you have to respect that process.
Yeah. Now, one thing that I would say is usually this is when it, like the higher,
ticket, yeah.
the higher
Yeah.
ticket stuff. Like to be honest, there are clients which are, you know, I charge 4, 5, 6,000 pounds a month to, and it's literally it's for Facebook ads.
Yeah.
And it's literally like on the spot. Like we'll do the call on the spot. Like awesome, send you the onboarding process, invoice you, and like that's it. They're a client, and like I'll close the deal within 30 minutes because that may just be the nature of it.
Yeah,
Another thing
agreed.
is that another thing with higher ticket clients where it's not necessary. A lot of the higher ticket clients I have, for example, an agency like this, you know, a deal, it isn't not going through because they don't want to. It's because there's genuinely people that have to be like there's
Yes.
vetting, and you can't get frustrated at that.
Yes,
So, for example,
agreed.
one thing that I'm against is proposals. Like you know this with like Peter. Like I won't send a proposal ever. Like
It's so funny.
I'm like
I love it. I think it's so funny.
because I'm like, what could be in a proposal that we can't just talk about right now? Like, you know, so I won't send a proposal. That said, I sent a loom and
Yeah.
to Peter, you know, the president, right,
Yeah.
of Motivate Design. I sent a loom to Peter. I'm like, hey, Peter, here's the loom, which is basically just like a video thing.
It's pretty cool, actually.
Yeah,
Yeah, I liked it. Yeah.
Have you checked it out?
I checked
Did you-
one.
Did you use it?
I want to use it for
You
mine.
use Loom because here's the thing, you know, you don't have to like export and upload. It's available straight away.
Nice.
It is so awesome. Internally, I use it. I pair with Slack. It's awesome.
Nice.
Anyways, so I just sent him a Loom and I said, hey, share this with the rest of your team because a company like this, I understand that the sale didn't go through not because like Mona didn't want it or
Yeah.
Peter didn't want it. It's genuinely there has to be vetting in
There
some
has
of
to
these
be.
bigger companies.
I think even my email back to you was like, I like you. Now next step.
Yeah.
Keep going. You know, like it
Like,
was like
on
pretty.
to-
Yeah, on to the next person. You have to convince. On to the next person.
Yeah.
I mean, think of it this way: like an agency like this, it's usually 3 people, 2 people. My world is like sometimes 25 people that
Yeah.
need to be in a room that need to all agree.
Like,
and
all
like
need
you
to
just gotta
keep-
like chill and
Yeah.
like assume that it's gonna get there.
Yeah, and then it's gonna take a little longer.
Yeah,
So
agreed.
huge pet peeves are when they try to rush you, when they try to assume what you know.
Yeah.
Packages.
Come unprepared. Yeah.
Come unprepared. So can you like touch on that a little bit?
But yeah, I mean, I've actually had people say, so like, how long have you been around? What is it exactly that you do here? My favorite was after 40 minutes with me, they're like, so what's your role at Motivate? Like, you're never gonna get hired, and it's so sloppy. Like, you think that people don't do it, but you guys know it sometimes. Like, you forget, you're on social
So-
media, you haven't done a proper research, and then you go to a meeting. We know.
Yeah,
Sometimes
yeah.
we don't make it an obvious thing. We don't want to make you feel dumb about
Dumb,
it,
yeah.
but like, I do talk about it after. I'm like, that dude. Seriously,
Yeah.
you know, and off they go, and that's for contractors, it's for new hires, it's for you know a lot of things. I think the other pet peeve would be when you don't know something, just say I don't know.
Yeah.
You know, a large part of why I use contractors or agency versus adding somebody full time internally is like I want their entrepreneurial spirit, I want their fresh perspective, I want something that they've done in the past to be applied. Most of the time, it's to do something new and innovative, right? Otherwise, I could just hire somebody. It's like if I needed another admin, I would just hire another admin.
Yeah.
But if I need like a head of insider insight or a head of like social media marketing, I want to find somebody who has like a perspective and a process that I buy into.
Yeah.
So I'm probably going to ask you questions that stump you.
Yeah.
Like we had a B2B conversation. You're like,
Yeah.
maybe this, maybe that, I don't know. That's my favorite thing. Actually, to have someone who's raw, who's like, I've never done this, because that's why I hired you. But I think we should do it this way. Versus someone who's like, well, I've never done this. And then that's that.
And then just
or like, I'm just going to take what I know and apply it
and just
instead of like
assume
stopping.
that it applies.
Yeah.
Rather than assessing the situation or asking like, what's the context in which this is applicable, et cetera, et cetera.
So you need to have like a humility around your expertise.
Yeah.
I guess is the best way I would say that. Like, be confident, know what you know, but then especially when you get like that juicy project, that one that
Yeah.
you've never done before, you know, be clear, like, I haven't done this, which is why it's exciting, why I'm
Yeah.
here, why, you know, maybe I have a more competitive rate. But here's how I'm thinking about it. Because by the way, I can't scale your thinking. You'll
Yeah.
always be there with me. You know, I have contractors who've worked here for like 4 years because I like the way they think. And so I'm happy with it, you know, and they want to like take summers off or whatever it is, like they do that.
Okay. So yeah, we've covered things that people do wrong.
Uh-huh.
Is there just like one at least like one thing where you see it and you're like, okay, yeah, this person like immediately stands out from the rest. You know, if you exclude their expertise, their prior expertise, their CV, whatever you guys use a metric.
Yeah.
If there's just one thing you see.
I'm tying between two, so I'm just thinking, I'll give you both and I'll talk you through which one. So the first answer that came to me was preparation. Like just come in, polish, deck, print out, whatever it is that you need to actually like do that. But the other is, I have hired people who just wanted it. You know, when it comes down to two candidates and one person has followed up properly, followed up, you know, with a really compelling, not like thanks, it was nice to meet you, hope to see you soon, but like thanks, you got me thinking about this, that, and the other. Here's an article about this. Here's a, you know, whatever about that. Here's a case study that came to me after. That person has an edge, and when it comes down to two people, I pick that person. Yeah. Always. I know they want it more. Yeah.
And the best part is that person's memorable even if you don't hire them at that moment.
Remember that karma.
Agency, that contractor, whatever it may be, even if you don't hire them at that moment, it's because they just wanted it more. Yep. Right? And they stayed in the game. Like a lot of, I feel as though, just, you know, to kind of summarize that, like, I think just a lot of people like eject from the...
Yeah, they don't like the rejection, so
or they'll just like...
I don't want the job.
They'll just like, they'll leave the game too early. You just should have just stayed in the game. You just should have stayed in the conversation, right? And you don't need to do it in a pushy way or anything like that. No.
No, and I think what you said is like, you know, just respect the process. There's processes that happen when you're not there. Like respect that, and they'll come back to you. Like have it. But those are like, and assuming that, you know, like the knowledge and the expertise is all there. Obviously, like, you know, you can want it as much as you want to, but if you're dumb, it's not gonna work. But like, you know, assuming that all that's there, the person that we pick is the person that clearly wants it. They have the drive and the desire, and you see it in their face. You see it in like the excitement.
I think you can see it in their eyes.
You can see it in their eyes. You can see it in how quickly they follow up. You can see it in whether they write typos when they follow up. You know, like, or whether it's like a sloppy thing that they did. Like, all of that I think is who we're looking for.
All right, awesome. Well, guys, I hope you enjoyed that.
Yeah.
And I want to thank you so much for that.
You got it. Thank you.
All right, awesome.
Cool.
I'm telling you, you're literally like such a natural in front of the camera.
Oh, thanks.
All right.